Aundre Cummings and the Ontario Christian Knights improved to 21-0 after defeating Los Osos on a night we get to celebrate the greatness of Tatiana Griffin going over the 1,000-point milestone. I feel like if she had 22 on Saturday, it would have been beneficial for you in the group against Mitty. Certainly, you were looking for every point you could get.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like it's more fitting that it happens here at home, where she gets to celebrate it in front of family and friends in the great Ontario Christian community. But speaking of Saturday at the Kay Yow Showcase, Meruelo Athletic Center at Mater Dei, everybody who either was there in person or got to watch it on the stream witnessed one of the great basketball games in United States girls high school basketball history, 96-87 for the Knights over the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs in double overtime. Aundre, first and foremost, I'm glad that you've had a chance just to catch your breath and and rejuvenate a little bit. But the fact that you've also had a chance, over a little bit more than 50 hours now to reflect. And, I know you learned a lot about your group from being down 10 in the third quarter to come back and win. But now that you've had a chance to really kind of take that macro view, just how much better is the group just in terms of being battle tested and being showing that grit and that will and that determination that maybe people forget about when you're beating everybody by 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 all the time. How much better do you feel about that not only presently but getting ready to go back to the Northeast again and part of the Hoophall Showcase and playing 3 times in 4 days?
Well, that's a good question. I honestly think it's the best way to be. It's the best thing for us at the right time. At the time, 19-0, and then you have Mitty to capture, my 50th career win.
Absolutely, man.
Which was really important to me, and that was the biggest challenge. And we have a lot of respect for Archbishop Mitty. We have a lot of respect for Sue. We have a lot of respect for McKenna. That team is amazing, and they give us nightmares. And so, at the end of the day, to be able to come out and, like you said earlier, have a game where I was able to coach an historic game, which I feel is a classic, I couldn't ask for anything more. When the girls got into the second overtime, I thought to myself, whether we win or lose, I was a part of something so special, and it's going to be memorable for forever. And so I think leading up to what we're getting ready to get battle tested with McNamara next, and then St. John's, and then after that, Lou High, those are 3 really, really battle tested games. I feel like Archbishop Mitty was the perfect start to this race, and I'm proud that we were able to succeed. But at the same time, I'm hoping that it can carry over in that grit, in that fight. It's something that we can start to create a habit of doing, moving into better and much more challenging games.
Obviously, the practices that these girls go through, are the other stuff of legends. But it's not. It's the opportunity, and again, you guys can only control being the best version of Ontario Christian. But just the fact that that they were pushed, and they did have to respond, against Mitty. Just even though it's only a 40-minute, girls' high school basketball game, how much do you feel like they grew during that span of time?
Well, they grew a tremendous amount, and most of which not physically, mentally. When you play in a double overtime game against a team that has championship pedigree and championship DNA, well-coached team like Archbishop Mitty, it can only challenge you mentally. And it, I feel, builds the camaraderie and the chemistry of the team, and it allows us to ultimately trust each other. And people like, players like Kalina and Tati, it allows them to see how much of a leader they have to be when times like that becomes challenging. So I think it helped us a ton, and it will continue to help us moving forward as we play a challenging schedule. And then after, these 3 games coming up, we ultimately have to get ready for the Open Division playoffs.
Which is another gauntlet in itself.
Right? It's a whole other gauntlet in itself. So I'm excited.
We know that Sky and Lay and Chloe, are all very accomplished elite basketball players. But being in that setting is different, right? Kalina, used to it. Tati, used to it. Danny, used to it. But just, especially Chloe, what was asked of her, to say, go out and guard a McDonald's All-American. But obviously, you have ultimate belief. Your coaching staff has ultimate trust. Teammates have, champion, everything that young woman is doing. For all of them who have been part of big basketball games, maybe not always, at Ontario Christian, but certainly now. How important was it for them to feel that intensity, that emotion, those stakes, that stage ahead of what is in front of them at Hoophall, in that arena, in that environment, the birthplace of basketball in Massachusetts?
100%. Great question. It meant a ton, and I'll say, This is why you come to Ontario Christian. You come here so that we can travel the world, we can play a national schedule, play against the best, and challenge ourselves to be the best. And for Chloe being in 9th grade, wanting the responsibility, and we were watching film, and she said, I'll take McKenna. You know, initially we had Tati guarding her, and she said, let me do it because she rebounds, she's athletic. I think I can match her athleticism. And although McKenna's numbers were amazing, Chloe was able to impact in so many ways at key and important times. So to be that young as a freshman and understand this is why I came to Ontario anyway, so that I can develop. And if she kills me, if she does well against me, then it just so be it. But I'll learn from this and I'll grow from this as years come. It was everything that we needed. And even with Leia and with Skylar Archer, like those girls had never seen anything like this. Being a part of this environment is why they wanted to come in the first place. And so it's just ultimately what we want to do here at Ontario Christian is prepare girls for college.
Right.
And that's the kind of environment you got to play in if you want to be a Division I player.
I think a lot of colleges would have been envious of that environment at the Meruelo Athletic Center, Aundre.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And just last thing, everything that you do is so purposeful and so intentional, not only on the court, off the court, in your walk with the Lord, in your mentorship of these young women. So I don't know if it's pure coincidence or if it's in line with that intentional, purposeful direction that. Sunday is a day to observe the Sabbath, and obviously CIF rules don't allow anybody to practice. They do, they're in violation. So you go from playing 40 minutes of high school basketball and then a little over 50 hours later back on the court for 32 more minutes against Los Osos. The fact that that's kind of a simulation or a dress rehearsal for what is going to be expected of these young women, where it's Bishop McNamara, immediate turnaround against St. John-Vianney, a day off, and then Lou High. You're smiling, obviously. How important was it for them to experience? I'm sure that you didn't sit down with your coaching staff and your players ahead of the game and be like, okay, we're going to play double overtime against Mitty, but you're certainly thankful for it now in retrospect, and then obviously to come back tonight and play against Los Osos. For them to understand what it's going to take, not only physically and how important recovery is going to be after every single one of those games, but again mentally and emotionally what that challenge of traveling across the country is going to be like, and how they need to respond with poise and maturity and composure for those three challenges as well.
Yeah, that's great because that's one of the things that I struggled with when we went into double overtime, knowing that we had a game on Monday against Los Osos, and a lot of people may say, well, the competitive nature is probably not the same, and the competition is not at stake.
But you still have to put young women out there, and they have to play 32 minutes.
That's 100% accurate. You still got to play, and you still have to prepare for what's to come. And so, if we didn't play in a game today, we would have practice.
Right.
So, end of the day, they're teenagers, they're young, they signed up for this, and they love it ultimately. And so I wouldn't have it any other way, and so I feel like it doesn't shift any momentum. It allows the momentum to carry on. And like tonight, we scored 97 points.
Yeah.
And that's still impressive after playing in double overtime.
Absolutely.
Against a really good team. And so you're still human, and you still have to come out here and play. And so I'm just proud of the girls, their enthusiasm to love basketball and be obsessed with such a precious game.
Absolutely. We are all witness to not only them being incredible student athletes, incredible representatives of the Ontario Christian community, incredible representatives for the Lord, but as Tatiana so eloquently put, love it like you're a little girl and play it like you're a grown woman. They certainly did it on Saturday against Archbishop Mitty, again tonight against Los Osos, and we wish them all the same against Bishop McNamara, St. John-Vianney, and Long Island Lutheran. Aundre, wishing you and the group great health, safe travels, and many more blessings from the Lord, and congratulations on an epic showcase on Saturday at Mater Dei.
Thank you so much.